Tim Burton's 9 is a computer-animated movie that was released on 9/9 of '09. While some critics claim that the movie lacked substance, it nevertheless conveyed powerful messages through symbolism. It even defines a new age for humanity as seen by occult secret societies. We'll look at the esoteric meaning of 9. 9 takes place in a dark post-apocalyptic world where intelligent, self-reproducing machines destroyed all life on Earth. In this desolate setting, a small relic of humanity remains, 9 ragdolls animated by a scientist's soul. These dolls, however, are constantly targeted by the machines that are determined to eradicate anything resembling life on Earth. The dolls must therefore band together to fight and destroy these evil robots. That pretty much sums up 9 in its entirety, and that's probably what most viewers got out of the film. However, like all works infused with an esoteric dimension, there is much more to the movie than meets the eye. Through symbolism and references, the movie describes humanity as a whole and the transitional phase that it is going through. More precisely, 9 describes the world as seen by occult secret societies and the new age they are all predicting, the Age of Horus or the Age of Aquarius. Before we take a look at this movie, let's take a look at the occult philosophy behind it. The occult elite believe that humanity needs to go through a period of great tribulation in order for it to purge its impurities. According to occult writers, these impurities include traditional religions and government as we know them. Manly P. Hall, a 33rd degree Freemason, describes what should happen in the next phase of humanity. We'll later see how this fits perfectly with the vision portrayed in 9. The most prominent occultist of the 20th century, Aleister Crowley, stated that the last 2,000 years were the Age of Osiris. Osiris was the king of the living and the ruler of the dead, and his age was characterized by strong governments and religions, notably Christianity's emphasis on death, suffering, sorrow, and the denial of the body. However, since the 20th century, Crowley claims that humanity entered the Age of Horus, who is the child of Osiris. In this phase, humans would learn to become their own gods. Through subtle symbolism, 9 describes the fall of authority, mainly the Christian church, in a new era ruled by the Luciferian philosophy of obtaining godhood through one's own powers. Using ragdolls and very little dialogue, 9 describes the basis of this occult philosophy and shows how it will prevail. The heroes of the movie are themselves the product of an ancient occult concept. They are homunculi, little men artificially created through a magical process. They are the epitome of man playing God and giving life. Homunculi, Latin for little men, is a concept that can be found in several ancient alchemical documents. In Jewish folklore, the golem, an animated anthropomorphic being created entirely from inanimate matter, is documented in the Talmud and the Sefer Yetzirah. There are even accounts of Kabbalist rabbis successfully animating such golems. For a brief moment, the movie acknowledges the occult roots of its premise. Visible for about half a second, the cover of this book explains the origins of the ragdolls and indicates the occult meaning behind the entire movie. You might recognize the ubiquitous symbol of the all-seeing eye inside a triangle. However, the title of the book is even more telling. Annuals of Paracelsus basically tells the viewers the movie is based on Hermetic philosophy and alchemy. Paracelsus was one of the most renowned occultists of the Renaissance. His work in the field of Hermeticism, alchemy, and medicine are still thoroughly studied to this day in practically all occult circles. Paracelsus wrote De Natura Rerum in 1537, and it's the first alchemical work that mentions the creation of the homunculi. The concept of creating homunculi subsequently appeared in other seminal occult texts, such as the Rosicrucian work Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz 1616 and Johann Wolfgang von Goethe's Faust Part 2, a German legend about a man making a pact with the devil. More recently, Aleister Crowley and his followers were obsessed with the creation of homunculus. Crowley used the term moonchild. Crowley even added to the creation of homunculus as a secret instruction when one is initiated to the OTO's 10th degree. OTO stands for Ordo Templi Orientis, or Order of the Temple of the East, aka Order of Oriental Templars. With this reference, 9 therefore taps into a crucial part of Western occultism. Here's a 19th century engraving depicting the creation of a homunculus from Goethe's Faust Part 2. In the book, Annals of Paracelsus, the ragdolls find a drawing documenting their creation. The drawing was probably inspired by the Faust engraving. In addition to the creation of homunculi, the movie also includes other parts of Paracelsus' research, such as the use of magically charged talismans, a tool Paracelsus used to treat his patients. Understanding that the backstory of 9 is steeped in ancient occultism gives the movie's storyline a specific color. It describes the world as seen by members of occult secret societies. The evolution of the characters in 9 tells it all. The heroes of the movie are 9 ragdolls created by a scientist who infused his soul into them in order to give them life. He then died along with the rest of humanity. Each one of the ragdolls embodies a part of the scientist's soul and personifies one of his traits. On a larger scale, each one of these ragdolls represents a group within humanity as a whole. The fate of each doll represents what occultists predict will happen in the Age of Horus. The dolls are named and numbered in the order that they are created, so 1 is the oldest one of the bunch. His position of authority and his distinctive garments make him the leader of this group. Given his attire, it's quite clear that 1 represents the power and authority of the Catholic Church, and religions in general. 1 wears a cape and holds a scepter, both symbols of power. Strapped to his hat is a coin, symbolizing the wealth of the church. 1 is stubborn, fearful, dogmatic, cowardly, and close-minded. In short, he represents all of the church's shortcomings as perceived by elite occult groups. In the first part of the movie, 1 forces all of the dolls to hide in a decrepit cathedral, discouraging his followers to venture outside of it. He wants his followers to stay hidden and ignorant as he believes that it will be the best way to stay alive. As the movie progresses, however, 1 loses his authority, his scepter, and his cape. He even loses the coin in his hat. In this transitional period, 1 ultimately represents the fall of religions in the Age of Horus and their loss of power, wealth, and authority. At one point, 1's cathedral is attacked by one-eyed robots and burns down, forcing the group to hide in the library instead. It is difficult to find a more telling image representing the fall of religions at the brink of a new era. After the dolls seek refuge in the library, they discover Annals of Paracelsus, an occult book describing the creation of the ragdolls. 1 is against the dolls reading the book. When the dolls open the book, 1 tears up the page describing their creation. At one point, 1 says, "Dark science, what does this useless rubbish do for us? Forget it." To which 9 replies, "You know something, what do you know?" 1 answers, "I know enough to leave their ancient evil to molder. Look at what they've left us." Does this scene represent religious elites holding occult knowledge while forbidding their followers from seeking it? 1 is therefore exactly how secret societies perceive the church and how they want the world to perceive the church in order to abandon it. 9 is the hero of the movie. Not unlike 1, he is also associated with the object that he carries, and it holds heavy significance, a light bulb on a stick. Note the release date of the movie was 999, a nod to occult numerology, and one of the movies flirts with the number 666. 9 is pretty much the opposite of 1. He is the youngest of the group, adventurous, courageous, curious, and resolved to solve his problems by his own means. In short, he is how occult groups perceive themselves. 9 also holds the mystery school's favorite emblem, a lighted torch, a nod to Prometheus, the bringer of fire, divine knowledge, to humanity. The Judeo-Christian version of Prometheus is Lucifer, which is a Latin word meaning light bearer. 9 represents the mystery school's interpretation of Lucifer, a savior who initiated humanity to divine knowledge and opened a path to godhood. While 1 apparently awaits divine intervention to save the world, 9 represents the Promethean Luciferian concept of attaining godhood through one's own means. In the end of the movie, 9 does just that and even brings life back on Earth. In this movie that takes place in a transitional period of humanity between the age of Osiris and the age of Horus, 9 symbolically represents the Luciferian principle, overthrowing traditional religions and saving the world. 6 is a visionary obsessed with a symbol that turns out to be the talisman needed to save the dolls. If you look closely at 6's sketches, you might notice that they contain 3 6s. 5 is an inventor who lost an eye. He actually says during the movie, "Actually, I don't mind having one eye. It's easier for me. I can concentrate on one thing at a time, you know?" All of the evil robots in this movie have one eye. Here's an evil one-eyed robot. Here's another one. Whether you're looking at the ragdolls or the robots, there's one-eyed symbolism everywhere in this movie. 3 and 4 are twins who serve as historian and archivist. 7 is a fearless warrior and the only female of the group. These 3 characters rejected one's rule at the cathedral and sought refuge at the library, the place where all knowledge, including occult knowledge, is stored. When the cathedral burns down, all of the dolls, including one, hide in the library. Once again, knowledge and courage are portrayed as the opposite of one, the representative of religion. This part of the story is telling because it represents the evolution that occult secret societies want to see in the world. Ever since the time of the medieval Knight Templars, occult secret societies have accused the Church of stifling knowledge, science, and progress. It is difficult to find an occult writer who doesn't extensively denounce the Church's role in censoring occult knowledge and punishing those who teach it or practice it. The move from the cathedral to the library, therefore, represents the abandonment of religions for knowledge. Moving to the library is, however, not enough. The robots still find the dolls and attack them. In the end, sacrifices must be made and some elements must be purged in order for the group to survive. The occult elite perceives the evolution of humanity as an ongoing alchemical process. The goal of alchemy is to turn crude metals into gold, and it is believed that humanity needs to transform using the same process. The first phase of the alchemical great work is called negretto, blackening. This phase represents the process of burning, turning the base metal into black ashes in order to break it down and remove its impurities. In 9, the world is definitely going through the negretto phase. It is dark, burnt down, and in ruins. The end of the movie is also extremely symbolic. 9 creates a bonfire in the shape of a 5-pointed star to liberate the souls of the dolls who were killed by the robots. The 4 dolls who remain alive to see the new age are 9, 7, 3, and 4. Coincidentally, the 4 who defied one's rule. This pretty much sums up the message of the entire movie. After the bonfire, 7 asks 9, "What happens next?" "I'm not sure exactly, but this world is ours now. It's what we make of it." Then it starts raining and we see living organisms in the drops of water. The purge has allowed life to be brought back to Earth, and only the representatives of the Luciferian principle have survived. Aleister Crowley believes that this transitional period is now. He called this new age the Aeon of Horus. Horus was the child of Osiris and Isis, and for this reason, it is believed that humanity is currently taking the traits of a child. After finding the Stele of Revealing in an Egyptian museum, it was exhibit number 666. Crowley wrote this about the coming new eon. This is what 9 is all about, but there is one question that the movie does not answer. Is humanity organically entering this phase of history, or is it being forced and provoked by the powers that be in order for it to achieve its own great work? This is ODD TV. Thanks for watching.